incarcerated persons receiving student financial aid awards. I know that everyone, no matter who you are, deserves an opportunity to be educated and receive the type of level of education that they're pleased with, whether or not it is a high school diploma, whether or not it's a college degree or master's degree or PhD or an MD. We need individuals that are educated so that they will be better citizens and people of our country. That's what this is about. And it should not be denied to anyone, and especially individuals that are incarcerated. When I say that, because incarceration supposedly is supposed to be an opportunity to rehab, to learn, to get better. So when you're released, you have the skills, you have the positive attitude as far as to go out and to do something very positive for yourself and your family and all of the things that we ideally want. And so education is the key to uplift all families. It doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, yellow, green, or blue, whether you're rich or you're poor, whether you're incarcerated or not. That's what it is. So we're hoping that this bill will be able to pass and pass in the assembly. And then we come together with a bill. Doesn't matter what side you look at it, it's the same bill, and the governor will sign it into law. That's what we're hoping for. But let me tell you about the one House bill that's been put forward in the Senate. The Senate proposed to increase the maximum TAP award by $1,000, eliminating the TAP gap for CUNY and SUNY. So, I mean, that's a positive step. Obviously, we want free college for everyone. That's what we ideally want. And that's why we had a group called Invest in Our New York, there were 6 bills that would raise billions of dollars. And obviously, all of us need to advocate for all of the things that's going to make the difference in the lives of all of New Yorkers. When I say all New Yorkers, those that are upstate, downstate, whether you're rich or you're poor, whether you're incarcerated or not. And so that's what this is about, giving everyone the opportunity. And that's what we're doing. And obviously, when you look back, as you indicated, from a historical perspective, until 1995, individuals that were incarcerated at state correctional facilities were eligible to receive TAP awards pursuant to higher education. So if not now, we can do it then, we can do it now. Going back as far as CUNY, tuition was free in New York City. So that's what we need. And it takes all of us coming together and focusing on the needs of not only New Yorkers that may be in SUNY or CUNY right now, but also individuals that are incarcerated, giving them something to strive for, to achieve the type of education that they want in order to come out of incarcerated situations and be the type of family members, type of things that they want to turn themselves around. And that's what this is about, giving everyone, no matter who you are, the opportunity to be successful. So let me just thank the coalition for putting this together. And I stand with you as a state senator representing 13 miles of Manhattan in order to move forward on this bill as quickly as we can, understanding it takes 2 to 3 individuals that really make it to work. There's 63 members of the state Senate, 150 members of the state assembly, and our governor. And inshallah, meaning God willing, it will happen soon rather than later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Jackson, for sponsoring such an important bill. And next in line, we have Reverend Vivian Nixon, the Executive Director of College and Community Fellowship and an arduous advocate for higher education in prison.
Thank you so much, Evelise. I want to thank everybody on this call, especially to Senator Jackson for being here today, for sponsoring this bill, to all of the other elected officials who may be on this call. If Senator Stavisky is on the call. Rabbi Hilly, if you're here, and Senator Horman, thank you so much for being part of this work. To the entire Turn on the Tap Coalition, thank you. This is the right time for us to be focused on this issue. As many of you know, in December 2020, through the CARES Act, the federal government restored Pell Grant eligibility to incarcerated students. New York has always been ahead of the curve. And before other states get around to it, it is time for us to fortify that win at the federal level with a state victory. CAP is going to be required in order to ensure that our students in New York correctional facilities get the highest quality education that we can offer. As our dear senator from Manhattan said, education should be a right. We are a society that requires education more and more, even for basic entry-level jobs. If we want people to have high quality lives, to be able to raise their families, to become part of our community, we owe them the best we have to offer, even if they've made a mistake. They are incarcerated. That is the punishment. Denying education, which is a basic need, is not. This campaign that College and Community Fellowship is managing in partnership with Bard Prison Initiative, with Central Synagogue, and with so many other advocates and partner organizations across the state, is something that will give hope to thousands of people, not just the individuals who will enroll in these courses, but to their families and their children. It is about access to education, equitable access. Many of these folks didn't have access to high quality education before they were incarcerated. It is also about racial justice, because we know that people of color in our society have less opportunity. This is not an expensive thing to do. The cost of this will be tiny compared to the benefit we receive. It will cost less than 1% of the TAP budget. So I urge you all to fight hard for the passage of this bill, to get other sponsors to sign on, and let us make sure that 2021 is the year that New York turns on the tap. Thank you to the CCF Policy and Advocacy team. Thank you to the Turn on the Tap members. Thank you to the legislature. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you. And once again, thank you to all our partners and everyone that is in full support. And next in line, we have New York State Senator Stavisky, which is the chair on the Committee on Higher Ed. Thank you, Senator Stavisky. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm really here to thank you, to the advocates, for almost reigniting this issue. As you said earlier, New York State had participated in the incarcerated individuals in New York State were eligible for TAP because of the association with the Pell Grants. And when the federal government withdrew the Pell Grants 25 or 26 years ago, then New York State stopped providing the TAP award. I believe it's time to get rid of the ban for a lot of reasons. For one, as the Reverend just said, higher education has to be accessible and affordable and of high quality. And I'm proud that New York State fits that mold. The reasons I think are fairly obvious. When an incarcerated individual leaves the correctional facility with a college degree, they're going to have a better job, without a doubt. And with all due respect, we are concerned about taxes. And they will be paying more in taxes. And that's really a hot issue today as we're looking at increasing taxes on those who can afford it. Obviously, that would not apply to most individuals, myself included, obviously. Um, but they are also, and to me, even more importantly, going to benefit. Both society will benefit, but so will that individual. And the recidivism rate is much lower for those who have a job. There's no reason for them to return to the whatever caused them to be incarcerated. Uh, and lastly, I look forward to working with everybody and bringing together a broad coalition so that we can get rid of the ban on tap that has existed for too long. And I look forward, as I said, in the days ahead, we've got to bring the coalition together. We've got to convince those who need convincing that this is a win-win for everybody. So again, thank you all. Unfortunately, I can't stay on either because I have a budget uh, meeting coming up in a couple of minutes. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Stavisky. Thank you so much for your words. And next in line, we are trying to let everybody speak to this important issue. It is Rabbi Healy Haber from Central Synagogue. Another wonderful partnership with Central Synagogue, yes.
Thank you so much, Evelise. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Reverend Nixon. Thank you to CCF and our partners in this coalition. We are honored to be in this fight with you. As a Jewish people, we are entering Zman Hirutenu, the time of our freedom, of our liberation, marked by the Passover holiday, in which we celebrate the Exodus from Egypt, the Exodus from bondage. Liberation in the Exodus story is inextricably linked to revelation at Mount Sinai, the moment in which God gave Moses the Torah, the history, the stories, and the laws which come to define the Jewish people. Freedom is not just about leaving Egypt. At Mount Sinai, God equips a wandering people with the tools to build their promised land. Higher education is a tool which helps all of us build a thriving state. It is revelation that occurs both inside and outside the walls of a classroom. It is how we learn to imagine and build better futures for ourselves and our children. Higher education is a way of ensuring a future of promise and hope for all New Yorkers. It is also a means of combating mass incarceration in New York State, breaking cycles of poverty in New York communities, reducing rates of recidivism, and increasing cost savings for state and federal governments. It is a means of bringing about liberation from cycles of systemic oppression and injustice. In the time of our freedom, our revelation, our march to the promised land, we at Central Synagogue ask that our state leadership turn the promise of higher education for some into the promise of higher education for all. May the story of the Exodus from Egypt continue to inspire us to work toward the freedom and liberation of all people. And may we continue to walk together on this march toward a more just and equitable New York. It is time to turn on the tap. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Haley. And next in line, we have Lisette Bamenga, which is an academic coordinator at Hudson Link, another partner for the Turn on the Tap. And take it away, Lisette.
Thank you. Hi, Evelise. Good afternoon, everyone. As Evelise mentioned, my name is Lisette Bamenga, and I manage a college program inside a women's correctional facility through Hudson Link for higher education in prison. We serve over 600 students annually inside 5 New York State prisons and support over 1,200 alumni upon their return to the community. I am here today to discuss why higher education in prison is important and why we need New York State to pass Bill S-4464 and A-2322 to reinstate TAP funding for incarcerated persons. Most of the students enrolled in our programs are first-generation college students, and education is a transformative tool that enables people to be productive citizens upon reentry and increases their civic engagement. Before starting our programs, many students were told they would not be successful. A student once told me that she never thought she would make it to college. Completing her first course gave her the confidence for the very first time in her academic career. She will be earning her associate degree this year and cannot wait to continue her education. Not only do education in prison programs benefit the students, there are multi-generational advantages as well. During the graduation ceremonies, women bring their children with them as they walk across the stage, inspiring their children to enroll in college too, thereby breaking the cycle of mass incarceration. Another student shared with me that her son, who was a senior in high school, told her that he did not have to go to college since she had not. So they made a pact and both enrolled in college programs that year. They were so proud of one another for taking that important step. The federal government has shown that it believes in the transformative power of education for our students, their families, and our communities when they reinstated Pell Grants for incarcerated students. It is time for New York State to follow suit and turn on the tap. We are calling for our senators and assembly members to co-sponsor and support bills S-4464 and A-2322, repealing the tap ban for incarcerated students, and to advocate for these bills to be included in the New York State budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisette. Thank you. And next in line, we have Assemblyman Harvey Epstein.
Thank you very much for letting me join you today for this really important conversation. People who are incarcerated have so many issues going on, and one of the opportunities they have is college. We've seen the data that says reincarceration rates for people are less than 5% when they get a college degree. Unfortunately, programs like BARD, Prison Initiative, and other college programs don't have enough resources to operate. I was just at Greenhaven Correctional Facility with 1,600 inmates, and only 30 people were enrolled in the BARD program. We need more resources, and the way to do that is to turn on the tap. We understand this is a pathway out. College is a pathway out for so many members of the family, so many people in our society. It's a racial and economic justice issue. We understand that. That's why we recently passed our merit time bill to allow people who are incarcerated to get merit time for going to college. Critical issues like turning on the tap will make the difference in tens of thousands of New Yorkers, to give them a pathway through college, to give them a pathway out of a prison system. We believe that people incarcerated need opportunities, and that's turning on the tap will allow that to happen. I stand with you. I'll fight for the passage of this bill, whether included in the budget or outside the budget. This is critical work for all of us to do, and I stand with you. Thank you all for letting me be here.
Thank you, Assemblyman Epstein. And last of our speakers is Senator Hoylman.
Hi, good to see you. I'll just say a few words, and I know you've got such a great program here. I just want to say that it's not only a moral imperative, as my colleague just mentioned, but it's also a smart one. TAP eligibility is a smart investment for New York. Studies show that each dollar we invest in college, in prisons, we save nearly $5 in future incarceration costs. And if we open TAP to incarcerated individuals, the state could be poised to save nearly $30 million a year. I'm so proud that the Senate has reiterated our commitment to higher quality education by closing the TAP gap and raising the maximum TAP award by $1,000 in the Senate One House budget. But this TAP funding is one of our most powerful investments in equity. Let's take the next step and expand eligibility to some of the most marginalized folks in our society. S-4464, introduced by my terrific colleague, Senator Robert Jackson, does that. I co-sponsor it, and I will fight for its passage alongside Senator Jackson. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And can everyone stay online so that we can go into our breakout rooms shortly? I want to thank BPI. I want to thank Central Synagogue, and I want to thank all of our partners and advocates. It's time to turn on the tap. As we have heard, is cost savings, right? It is about educational access and equity. It's about racial justice. And it also strengthens our democracy in our communities. As Senator Stavisky said, this is a win-win solution. We know it works because it used to work prior 1995. So I exhort all of you to push for Turn on the Tap tuition assistance program on the New York State budget. And please stay online. We are going into breakout rooms. All this information that you already know. And
I just want to say the background. How do
we already know that this is an issue of increasing access for marginalized communities, which are usually the communities and the folks that you will see inside the carceral spaces. So this is equity. Education as a human right. And so we are going to continue. For those of you that don't know, but prior 1995, when tuition assistance program was provided for incarcerated students, there was at least 70 college and prison programs. When 1995, with the banning of TAP, this dropped drastically to 4 college and prison programs, and obviously creating a deficit, preparing individuals for employability and just to be able to navigate the many changes that we encounter upon release.
And we're just apologies for the technical delay. There's just some work in putting us all into breakout rooms. But just want to say there are so many astonishing advocates and people on this call. It's really, really fantastic. And for a brief moment, while Bridget is sorting out the tech issues, let's hear from Dewan from BPI to speak a little bit more to the values of TAP.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I see so many amazing advocates and alumni of college and prison on this call. And I think sometimes, we're often confronted with the question of like, what's the value of a college and prison? And too often we talk about that in economic terms, how much money this is going to save the state. That's important, but I want to talk about that some in terms of the lives of the people that these educations benefit. I'm the first person in my family ever go to college. I got an older brother who's been to prison. I got a younger brother who's been to prison, and neither of them have had the type of opportunities I have had post-release because they didn't have a college opportunity while they were incarcerated. I got out of prison 3.5 years ago. Today, I'm the strategic advisor for external outreach at the DCCC. And so I'm looking at faces across this call. I see BPI alumni Wes Keynes. He is now the chief of staff at the Bronx Defenders, doing amazing work. I see Alex Duran, who's a program director at Galaxy Gives. I see so many staff and faculty who go into the prisons to do the work every day to change people's lives. So overwhelmingly, BPI alumni, their education's in prison, walk out of prison after 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 years, and into PhD programs at Yale, at Columbia, at NYU. They are actively working back on the grounds in their communities to change the circumstances that led to their incarcerations in the first place. You know, big shout out to Evelise, who's doing the same thing. I see you, Evelise. And so the value of this to our society can't be underestimated, shouldn't be underestimated. This is an easy win, right? When we're having budget talks in Albany, restoring TAP doesn't create a new line item, right? This is giving incarcerated people access to a pool of money that is already there, right? This is removing a really, really pernicious sentence from our state law, one that unfairly impacts people of color, right? There's a long history in this country, as Robert Jackson alluded to, of excluding Black and brown people from equal access to education. As Senator Jackson said, CUNY was free. Yep, but that's until Black and brown people showed up on campus, right? This could have never passed, and the Pell ban could have never passed. The TAP ban could have never passed if it was not explicitly targeted at Black and brown people, right? This is a racial justice issue. There are 15,000 people who are eligible to attend college in New York State prison. Only 10% of them currently have access. And we know overwhelmingly today, and we knew it in 94, 95, that if someone got an education in prison, they're not only the least likeliest to go back, but they're going to be the most successful post-release. This is simple, this is easy, and yet it's going to go have a profound impact across this state. And before we move into the breakout rooms, I just say that I want to live in a state that is going to prioritize people and education over prisons and punishment. We spend $3 billion in this state on prison. We spend only $1 billion on tuition assistance to students. That used to be the opposite if we go back 30 years, and we need to make it the opposite again. And the way we do that is by getting people out of prison in a manner that they are never going to go back. And college and prison is the number one way to do that. Turn on the tap, New York.
All right, so it's about 1 o'clock. Thank you, Dawan, for that message and just the importance of uplifting why tap restoration in New York State is so important. Right now, what I'm going to do is open the breakout rooms. There are some people that I have not been able to get into breakout rooms, so you'll just go into the main room and we'll figure out which room you can head into. But for the most part, there are a lot of people who are already sorted. So I'm going to open those rooms right now. And then if you are remaining in the room, and know that you're going to be scheduled to speak with a legislator, please stay. Otherwise, this is the end of the overall rally. And again, please turn on the tap, call your officials, let them know that this is important and we want it to be included within the budget. But I'm going to open breakout rooms right now.
And the calls apps that you can make, as well as a bunch of tweets for everyone who wants to make the most impact possible, is in the chat.
Also, if you were meeting with Senator Serino, you'll be meeting on a separate Zoom link that we sent out this morning. So I just wanted to flag that as well.
Good afternoon. This is Richard Olivier with Senator Leroy Comrie's office. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out, Richard, is your name showing up as Bridget in the?
Let me see. It should not be. I'm very certain my name is Richard Olivier.
I'm glad you're certain of that.
Let me just see. I'm changing the view. I cannot even see myself on the screen. Hold on, let me too.
I'm just gonna start calling people's names just to make sure that I have you for the. So L Rivera. Yeah. What do you know which elected official we had put you in? No.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I am signed in as Bridget.
Yeah.
I could be you today. Why not? I could be Bridget. I don't know. Should I change it? Is there a way? Let me.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, I do apologize. I don't know why.
No, it's the new world we live in.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
All right. Sorry. So El Rivera, do you know which office that you were registered for?
I'm coming from the Fortune Society.
Okay. Oh.
You're supposed to have 1 gram of protein. That's the proper way of eating what she's doing right now.
All right. So for the remainder of the folks that are in this room, we didn't have you scheduled to be with a specific elected official. If you wanted to put in the chat an office that you might be willing to, we actually need some folks in Senator Benjamin's office in that breakout. Are there any folks you can just flag on with a reaction? Jeffrey, thank you. Perfect. With like a little thumbs up. I will send you there right now.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi, this is Leroy Comrie. Am I in the right space?
No, I will send you to the right space. Apologies.
No problem. Have a good day, everybody.